Kids Fun Learning. Written by Cindy Christmas. Hi kids, are you ready to learn and have fun while learning? If so, scream. Wow, that was loud. Alright, but before we count from 1 to 10, I will show you beautiful, cuddly teddy bears for each number. Now, let's count. 1 cuddly teddy bear. 2 cuddly teddy bears. 3 cuddly teddy bears. 4 cuddly teddy bears. 5 cuddly teddy bears. 6 cuddly teddy bears. 7 cuddly teddy bears. 8 cuddly teddy bears. 9 cuddly teddy bears. 10 cuddly teddy bears. Now that we know how to count from 1 to 10, let's count from 11 to 20. I will show you cute animals for each number. Now, let's count. 11 cute cats. 12 cute cats. 13 cute bees. 14 cute birds. 15 cute cats. 16 cute pandas. 17 cute cats. 18 cute bees. 19 cute birds. 20 cute birds, bees, and pandas. Let's take a break from counting and learn about fruits. I will show you pictures of fruits and give you a choice to help you guess what fruit it is. The answer will be on the other page, but, shoo. No peeking. Now, do you know what fruit this is? Is it a strawberry? Is it a pear? Is it bananas? Did you guess the fruit correctly? If not, it is bananas. Do you know what fruit this is? Is it a plum? Is it a pineapple? Is it an apple? Did you guess the fruit correctly? If not, it is an apple. Do you know what fruit this is? Is it a cherry? Is it a pear? Is it a mango? It is a pear. Do you know what fruit this is? Is it grapes? Is it a watermelon? Is it peaches? It is grapes. Do you know what fruit this is? Is it plums? Is it apples? Is it a pineapple? It is plums. Do you know what fruit this is? Is it a mango? Is it bananas? Is it peaches? Did you guess the fruit correctly? If not, it is peaches. Do you know what fruit this is? Is it cherries? Is it a plum? Is it grapes? It is cherries. Do you know what fruit this is? Is it a watermelon? Is it apples? Is it a mango? It is a mango. Do you know what fruit this is? Is it a watermelon? Is it apples? Is it a pineapple? Did you guess the fruit correctly? If not, it is a pineapple. Do you know what fruit this is? Is it a watermelon? Is it a mango? Is it grapes? Did you guess the fruit correctly? If not, it is a watermelon. Do you know what fruit this is? Is it a banana? Is it peaches? Is it strawberries? It is strawberries. Great. Now that we know some of our fruits, let's move on to shapes. I will show you shapes and give you choices to choose from. The answer will be on the next page, but no cheating. Do you know what shape this is? Is it an oval? Is it a circle? Is it a square? It is a circle. Do you know what shape this is? Is it an oval? Is it a cone? Is it a triangle? It is an oval. Do you know what shape this is? Is it a cube? Is it a circle? Is it a triangle? It is a triangle. Do you know what shape this is? Is it a square? Is it a rectangle? Is it a pentagon? Did you guess the fruit correctly? If not, it is a square. Do you know what shape this is? Is it a cylinder? Is it a pentagon? Is it a rectangle? It is a rectangle. Do you know what shape this is? Is it a cylinder? Is it an oval? Is it a cube? It is a cube. Do you know what shape this is? Is it a cone? Is it a triangle? Is it a pentagon? It is a cone. Do you know what shape this is? Is it a circle? Is it a rectangle? Is it a cylinder? It is a cylinder. Do you know what shape this is? Is it an oval? Is it a cube? Is it a pentagon? Did you guess the fruit correctly? If not, it is a pentagon. Kids, are you having fun? If you are having fun, scream. Wait, that wasn't loud enough. Let me say it again. If you are having fun, scream. Wow, don't deafen me. Kids, I know all of you are very smart, so I want to ask you all these math questions, which include subtraction and addition. In case you do not know what subtraction is when you take something like a number from another number. Addition is when you add something like a number to another number. See how easy that is? Let me give an example of subtraction. Miss Circle had 4 cherries. She decided to give away 2 cherries. How many cherries does Miss Circle have left? Does Miss Circle have 3 cherries? Does Miss Circle have 2 cherries? Does Miss Circle have 4 cherries? The answer is on the other page, but you already knew that. 4-2 equals. Miss Circle has 2 cherries left. Let me give an example of addition. Miss Cube had 4 plums, and she decided to buy 2 more plums. How many plums do Miss Cube have? Does Miss Cube have 5 plums? Does Miss Cube have 6 plums? Does Miss Cube have 4 plums? 4 plus 2 equals. Miss Cube would have 6 plums. Let's begin. Mr. Triangle had 2 apples, and he gave 1 apple to his best friend. How many apples does that leave Mr. Triangle with? Does Mr. Triangle have 0 apples? Does Mr. Triangle have 1 apple? Does Mr. Triangle have 2 apples? 2-1 equals. You are so correct if you guess that Mr. Triangle has 1 apple. Mr. Pentagon had 5 peaches, and he gave 2 peaches to a teacher. How many peaches does that leave Mr. Pentagon with? Does Mr. Pentagon have 6 peaches? Does Mr. Pentagon have 10 peaches? Does Mr. Pentagon have 3 peaches? 5-2 equals. Mr. Pentagon has 3 peaches. Mr. Cylinder had 7 pineapples and bought 3 more. How many pineapples does Mr. Cylinder have altogether? Does Mr. Cylinder have 10 pineapples? Does Mr. Cylinder have 1 pineapple? Does Mr. Cylinder have 8 pineapples? 7 plus 3 equals. Mr. Cylinder has 10 pineapples. Mr. Square had 6 grapes and bought 4 more. How many grapes does Mr. Square have altogether? Does Mr. Square have 4 grapes? Does Mr. Square have 10 grapes? Does Mr. Square have 17 grapes? 6 plus 4 equals. Mr. Square has 10 grapes. Mr. Cone had 5 teddy bears and sold 1. How many teddy bears do Mr. Cone have? Does Mr. Cone have 4 teddy bears? Does Mr. Cone have 12 teddy bears? Does Mr. Cone have 18 teddy bears? 5-1 equals. Mr. Cone has 4 teddy bears. Mr. Cylinder had 8 mangoes and gave away 2. How many mangoes does Mr. Cylinder have? Does Mr. Cylinder have 19 mangoes? Does Mr. Cylinder have 17 mangoes? Does Mr. Cylinder have 6 mangoes? 8-2 equals. Mr. Cylinder has 6 mangoes. Mr. Oval had 3 pears and bought 3 more. How many pears does Mr. Oval have altogether? Does Mr. Oval have 30 pears? Does Mr. Oval have 22 pears? Does Mr. Oval have 7 pears? 3 plus 4 equals. Mr. Oval has 7 pears. Mr. Square had 9 peaches and sold 1 peach. How many peaches does Mr. Square have? Does Mr. Square have 19 peaches? Does Mr. Square have 8 peaches? Does Mr. Square have 15 peaches? 9-1 equals. Mr. Square has 8 peaches. Mr. Cylinder had 10 plums and sold 9 plums. How many plums do Mr. Cylinder have? Does Mr. Cylinder have 14 plums? Does Mr. Cylinder have 1 plum? Does Mr. Cylinder have 3 plums? 10-9 equals. Mr. Cylinder has 1 plum. Mr. Oval had 6 strawberries and bought 8 more. How many strawberries does Mr. Oval have altogether? Does Mr. Oval have 24 strawberries? Does Mr. Oval have 14 strawberries? Does Mr. Oval have 10 strawberries? 6 plus 8 equals. Mr. Oval has 14 strawberries. Kids, I really hope you are having fun. Come on and count on me from 21 to 30. Let's start. 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30. Mr. Cone had 6 grapes and bought 4 more. How many grapes does Mr. Cone have altogether? Does Mr. Cone have 10 grapes? Does Mr. Cone have 5 grapes? Does Mr. Cone have 18 grapes? 6 plus 4 equals. Mr. Cone has 10 grapes. Ms. S. Circle had 5 teddy bears and bought 5 more. How many teddy bears does Miss Circle have altogether? Does Miss Circle have 10 teddy bears? Does Miss Circle have 11 teddy bears? Does Miss Circle have 18 teddy bears? 5 plus 5 equals. Miss Circle has 10 teddy bears. Mr. Cone had 8 mangoes and sold 2. How many mangoes do Mr. Cone have? Does Mr. Cone have 14 mangoes? Does Mr. Cone have 17 mangoes? Does Mr. Cone have 6 mangoes? 8-2 equals. Mr. Cone has 6 mangoes. Mr. Cylinder had 3 pears and bought 3 more. How many pears does Mr. Cylinder have altogether? Does Mr. Cylinder have 6 pears? Does Mr. Cylinder have 18 pears? Does Mr. Cylinder have 19 pears? 3 plus 3 equals. Mr. Cylinder has 6 pears. Miss Circle had 9 pineapples and bought 3 more. How many pineapples do Miss Circle have altogether? Does Miss Circle have 10 pineapples? Does Miss Circle have 1 pineapple? Does Miss Circle have 8 pineapples? 9 plus 3 equals. Miss Circle has 12 pineapples. Mississippi Cone had 6 grapes and bought 4 more. How many grapes does Miss Cone have altogether? Does Miss Cone have 4 grapes? Does Miss Cone have 10 grapes? Does Miss Cone have 17 grapes? 6 plus 4 equals. Miss Cone has 10 grapes. Mr. Oval had 7 teddy bears and sold 5. How many teddy bears do Mr. Oval have? Does Mr. Oval have 0 teddy bears? Does Mr. Oval have 2 teddy bears? Does Mr. Oval have 18 teddy bears? 7-5 equals. Mr. Oval has 2 teddy bears. Miss Rectangle had 8 mangoes and gave away 2. How many mangoes does Miss Rectangle have? Does Miss Rectangle have 19 mangoes? Does Miss Rectangle have 17 mangoes? Does Miss Rectangle have 6 mangoes? 8-2 equals. Miss Rectangle has 6 mangoes. Mr. Cylinder had 3 pineapples and bought 13 more. How many pineapples does Mr. Cylinder have altogether? Does Mr. Cylinder have 30 pineapples? Does Mr. Cylinder have 22 pineapples? Does Mr. Cylinder have 30 pineapples? Does Mr. Cylinder have 22 pineapples? Does Mr. Cylinder have 16 pineapples? 3 plus 13 equals. Mr. Cylinder has 16 pineapples. Miss Cube had 9 peaches and sold 1 peach. How many peaches do Miss Cube have? Does Miss Cube have 19 peaches? Does Miss Cube have 8 peaches? Does Miss Cube have 15 peaches? 9-1 equals. Miss Cube has 8 peaches. Mr. Cylinder had 10 plums and sold 9 plums. How many plums do Mr. Cylinder have? Does Mr. Cylinder have 14 plums? Does Mr. Cylinder have 1 plum? Does Mr. Cylinder have 3 plums? 10-9 equals. Mr. Cylinder has 1 plum. Mr. Cylinder had 10 strawberries and bought 6 more. How many strawberries does Mr. Cylinder have altogether? Does Mr. Cylinder have 24 strawberries? Does Mr. Cylinder have 19 strawberries? Does Mr. Cylinder have 16 strawberries? 10 plus 6 equals. Mr. Cylinder has 16 strawberries. Kids, I hope you enjoyed learning today and would come to learn with me next time, while we have fun.